This plant looks safe. They have the awards to prove it. They went 3 years accident-free. But 5S for Safety led them to a new safety frontier.
After we originally implemented the 5S system and we got into the 5S for Safety, there were a lot of things that we found that normally we would have not seen because we went above and beyond the original system. We started finding loose wires on equipment that, before we had cleaned around, now we were looking at ways to improve them to take care of those issues.
Every plant has problems that it doesn't see, things they've gotten used to. For example, loading docks are often ignored. After all, they're outside the factory. Over the years, some jobs may have evolved to include dangerous work habits. Sometimes we can't find out whose job it is to maintain equipment, and layer upon layer of problems begin to develop. Other times we may feel we have to do our job any way we can, even if it begs for an accident to occur. Unless we decide to dig below the surface, these problems will grow and eventually cause an accident.
5S gets clutter out of the way, and in the process you get some of your safety items handled, but the 5S for Safety makes you focus in. Now you're saying, well, we got some safety items that need to be addressed, and as we look into it, some of them are pretty major.
Every 8 seconds, a worker is injured. Every 10 seconds, a worker is disabled. Every 103 minutes, a worker is killed on the job. In 1997, workers lost 125 million days of work. 80 million were due to injuries. But many continue to work in spite of their injuries. The pain and suffering is something that can't be put into numbers, but the costs are just as real. At the same time, every company is under massive pressure to become increasingly efficient and productive. So how can industry respond to improve safety and productivity? By using the 5S safety system. 5S is a system that creates a safe, efficient workplace. In this program, 5S for Safety, we will show you how to focus the 5S system on safety. Those of you already familiar with 5S know that by performing basic 5S activities, you will see the work environment become safer. So you may be wondering why there is any need for a 5S focus on safety.
Well, it was really funny because we went down just in our one area alone, and we found 69 problems in a matter of about 20 minutes. I mean, that's just, when you think about it, it's unheard of, but we couldn't believe it either. And our instructor was telling us that's still a long ways from being good yet.
Teams using 5S for Safety have found they have new eyes. By using newly developed auditing tools, they find previously unnoticed and sometimes dangerous hazards. Hazards that weren't apparent during the initial 5S implementation.
I like the 5S safety program because being the plant safety coordinator, it's really taught our folks to audit and what to look for when it comes to safety items.
Creating a safe environment still begins with the basic 5S system.
We chose folks that worked in the different departments and areas in the plant, so we'd have a good cross-functional team. It gave us the benefits of having people involved on the equipment that they normally work on, and also having the eyes from the outside looking in on equipment that they don't normally see. And the people that were from outside the departments really picked up a lot of good stuff that the people that work there every day just didn't even notice.
Create a vision for safety. One way to do this is by using a flip chart with two columns. In the left column, list the safety problems you found in the work area. In the right column, describe how you want it to be. With this vision in mind, identify goals for the project and share and improve them with the workers in the area. In Step 2, Scan the Area, team members use the Safety Scan Diagnostic Checklist to establish a baseline measure of unsafe conditions. The checklist describes specific unsafe conditions in each of the 5S categories and how prevalent they are. Then prepare an area map and arrow diagram. Now it's time to find and expose all potential safety problems. You will do that by red tagging. In Basic 5S, red tagging was used to label unneeded items. But in 5S for Safety, you will go a step further by tagging every potential safety problem that you can find. Always involve area workers when you red tag. They are most familiar with the work area, and their input is critical to identifying hidden accident causes.
You got a bunch more.
After the completion of red tagging, post the location of each problem on the area map. Now you have a true picture of safety in your area. Step 3 is Analyze the data. In this step, each safety problem identified in Step 2 is placed into its appropriate 5S category. And once the problem category is determined, the root cause of the problem must be identified so an effective solution can be decided upon.
Well, one of the things we observed as we were in the area doing our red tagging process was that the operator was picking up the boxes of spouts and manually carrying them a pretty good distance and dumping them in the bin. And there was a machine sitting there, a dump machine that was specially designed to do that for.
This situation existed for over a year at a plant that was recognized as a leader in safety. But it wasn't until they looked for the root cause that they found the real problem.
You know, as we investigated, we found out that the root cause of what was happening is the machine didn't work. The machine's been there for a year, and there's a lot of dust on it.
One of the best tools for discovering the root cause is 5 why analysis. Here's how it works. The initial problem, as it was observed, was that the operator had to manually lift a box of parts, carry it to the machine, and dump it into the machine. When the team asked why, the answer was that the forklift couldn't bring the pallet any further into the area. Walking the box to the machine was necessary. Then the team asked, why is the area set up in a way that doesn't allow the forklift closer? The answer? It was originally designed for the pallet to be placed next to an automatic loader. And when the operator was asked why she didn't use the loader, she responded that it spills too many parts onto the floor. In addition, filling the loader wasn't that much different than loading the hopper manually. Then she was asked, why does the loader spill the parts onto the floor? The answer? The hopper on the loader is too big for the mouth of the machine. The final question was, why is the loader designed that way? The answer? It wasn't designed to load these parts into this machine. So, by using the 5S for Safety process, a problem that seemed to be unsafe behavior was revealed to be a design flaw in the equipment, a flaw that led the operator to behave in a potentially dangerous way. Let's analyze one more problem. This time, it's a wall fan that is coated with grease and oil, and the oil is running down the conduit onto the electric switch, an obvious electrical hazard. This seemed like a simple problem to solve. Just clean the fan. But don't forget, in 5S for Safety, we want to fix the problem and prevent it from recurring. During the 5 why analysis, the operators were asked why they hadn't cleaned the fan. The answer? As operators, they are not allowed to do house cleaning that requires a ladder. Why doesn't housekeeping clean it? Because it's not on their list. It's on the maintenance list. Why doesn't maintenance clean it? because it's not on any of the maintenance checklists. Why isn't it on a maintenance checklist? Frankly, nobody thought of it. This is a perfect example of the type of problem that falls through the cracks of everyday responsibilities. Every plant has them. And since it's located high on the wall, it's easy to ignore it. As you can see, this process focuses on the cause of the problem, not on the people involved. Fixing the problem is the goal, not fixing blame. Once the root cause of the problem has been identified, post it in the cause column. The team must then determine which problems should be addressed first, starting with criteria such as most dangerous, like this tool washing station that can easily tip over, or this example of water, oil, and wires on the floor, or this mobile equipment unit speeding around a corner, blind to anything on the other side, or exposed moving parts. Another category is easy-to-solve problems because you can quickly get rid of them at low cost. Common examples are an oil barrel on the loading dock, air hoses on the floor, minor holes in the floor, and trip hazards. And most frequent problems, such as water on the floor, are the ones that happen over and over. Another example is the need to bend and reach below a workbench searching for a tool. After prioritizing the issues and problems to solve, it's time to begin the fourth step. Identify best practices. Best practices are reliable methods that work. They have a successful track record. In addition, you can learn about best practices by visiting other areas or plants that are further along in the process. So brainstorm and research the best practices that seem to apply to actual problems in your area. Record each idea on a blue card and place those cards in the best practices column on the chart. At this point, welcome every idea, regardless of how outrageous it seems. You'll get to pick and choose in the next step. There are all types of best practices. For example, tools suspended from above not only makes them more accessible, but makes them easier and safer to use. Using this spring unit positions the part at the best height and eliminates the need to bend and lift. This slanted bar feeder makes it easy to retrieve this part, and slanted shelves at workbenches can eliminate the need for twisting and stretching. The location of fire extinguishers should be obvious from a distance. In an emergency, this extinguisher can be difficult to find, but through better visual markings, you can spot it at a glance from a distance. Tool boards are another best practice. They not only allow you to quickly find your tools, they also provide a place to hang hoses and wires. There are many other 5S best practices for safety. For example, tiger tape to clearly show a hazard, red lines on the floor to warn walkers where mobile equipment passes by, transparent doors on cabinets that store chemicals, color coding, or even spill response kits. And remember, best practices are not only meant to fix problems, but to prevent them from recurring. The fifth step in the process is select, test, and adopt solutions. Prioritize the best practices in the order of perceived effectiveness and post them in the select, test, and adopt column. And then select one idea at a time to implement. Once implemented, a solution should be monitored to ensure that it really does improve safety. For example, rubber mats can be used to prevent slipping and can even relieve the pressure on legs due to long hours of standing. But does the edge of the mat create a tripping hazard? You can improve the original idea by making sure the mat has a slope or ramp that will eliminate the edge. Don't forget to involve the workers in the test area. They will always be closest to the facts. And remember, in 5S for safety, we don't just want to fix a problem. We want to prevent it from returning. When a practice does work, make it the standard for that work area for everyone. Of course, a standard is useless if workers don't know it exists. or if it's too difficult to understand. So, effective communication is critical. Visual controls are probably the best method to communicate a standard. For instance, different gloves should be used for different purposes. But unless a worker knows, they may injure themselves by using the wrong glove. Another effective tool to communicate standards is a one-point lesson. A one-point lesson is a mini training board that's posted in the workplace. Following basic 5S and 5S for safety can help your teams improve their work environment. It will provide you with the procedure, tools, and reliable methods to improve safety and productivity throughout your organization. Use the program as a guide. Don't be limited by our definitions. Adapt it to your plant in order to create your own 5S for safety program. Here are some practical tips to implement 5S for safety. Remember, you're always looking for conditions below the surface. Many safety professionals are familiar with the safety pyramid. For every major accident at the top, there are 29 minor accidents immediately below, and nearly 300 near misses at the base. But these are only the symptoms of the real problem. The real cause of many industrial accidents is unsafe conditions that we've become blind to. Get management support and involvement. Lack of management support has killed many safety programs. But just getting an okay isn't enough. Managers should set the direction and be involved all through the process. Next, and just as important, total employee involvement is critical. Shop floor workers should be involved every step of the way. When performing the safety scan and gathering data, make sure you go to the actual work area. Even new eyes can't see clearly from an office or a classroom. Post all findings and proof of improvement in the targeted work area where everyone can see it. And finally, establish a daily routine. Make it part of everybody's job. For example, red tagging should occur whenever a safety problem is identified. And this should be done by everyone, managers, supervisors, and shop floor workers. Implementing 5S for safety will require your workplace to change, but it's worth it.
One of the largest benefits that we see with 5S for safety is that it fits in well with our philosophy that safety is a process. It's not a program of the month. It's ongoing, it's continuous improvement. Therefore, it's given us another tool, a different tool to address and to get better at safety.
I think we should have a red tag campaign in every area once a month at a minimum. And then that would keep us on the forward approach of 5S and for safety.
We have a behavior-based safety program here that really focuses on the individual's responsibility and their personal behavior for being safe, and this dovetails very nicely with that for the workplace itself, for the environment and having a safe environment.